Alright everyone, what is going on and welcome back to today's video. In today's video we're getting into a sensitivity guide. So I've made one of these in a while and I feel like some of my older stuff may be a little bit outdated now. So I'm just going to come through and I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just going to come through and show you my opinion. There is a reason I'm doing that actually. Looking at my rank here, as you guys can see, I'm probably not the best person to be going to in terms, or you may think that I'm not the best person to be going to, because I am no diamond, I am no champion, and yes, their tips are probably going to be better than mine, but I feel like I can definitely pass on some sort of description on how to find sensitivity you want to work with, and with multiple years of experience on the game, I do know a lot about the game. I may not be the best at it, but I do have a lot of knowledge. Well, I'd like to say I do. If you feel like this video is completely useless, then I don't, but we'll find out, I suppose. But with that said, though, it's just going to be going over this and trying to help you adapt to your sensitivity. The best way to find it in a console setting, which is what this video is obviously going to be based on, was obviously in the training grounds, in the terrace hunts, in all of that. That is going to be the best place you're going to be able to locate your sensitivity and work it out. So, without further ado, I'm going to quickly jump us into a game. And hopefully I can pass on some tips in terms of sensitivity, and hopefully you enjoy this video, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so we're here in a terrace hunt. Now, to find your sensitivity, the best way to sort it out is obviously you want to find the best way you can control your recoil. So I feel like in terms of sensitivity, when you're looking at it, obviously you have your vertical and your horizontal. Vertical is your upwards. If you don't, you already know this, I don't need to describe this. I feel like the main one that you're going to want to focus on is your horizontal, because that is the one that controls your flicking. So obviously the one side horizontal is your side to side. So that is probably the one that you're going to, in terms of sensitivity, that's the one you're going to want to have higher. Now, these are my settings right here, but something I have done in the past is tried to pass my settings down to other people. But in terms of sensitivity and settings, especially in a console setting, you'll find that most of the time finding settings that adapt to you and you alone is what you want to look for. So you really don't want to go, you can feel free to try mine out, and if you feel like it fits you, then it does, because it probably will fit other people watching this video's playstyle. But in terms of sensitivity, it really just depends on how you like to play. So obviously, as someone who used to rock sensitivity, this is what my old sense used to look like. This is what used to work for me. So obviously, it's a lot slower, as you can see, but it's just what worked for me. You have more control over your gun, but it's also harder, it's just harder to fucking, I don't know, to move. So in terms of recoil control, you're not going to have as much power to push back on the horizontal when you're controlling your gun. So as you know, operators have recoil control. That's a basic example of Nomad's recoil control pattern right there. And controlling it is, it's a part of sensitivity. So it depends what kind of works with your sensitivity when you're doing this. I'm getting attacked, hold on. My aim's probably going to be off because I don't know the sensitivity, but using 45-45, we have that there, and then we have to try and control it with that sensitivity. As you can see, my horizontal sensitivity actually fits pretty well. Maybe 75 isn't for me, but my vertical was kind of off. So generally that would mean you'd want to maybe increase your vertical a little bit. So let's just play around with it. We'll crank it up to 65. So now you're going to move vertically more, obviously, you probably already know that, and just see if that affects my recoil control in any way. Okay, so it took me a second to get used to it, but I eventually controlled, and I'd say that's a little bit, I'd say majority of the spray was in this little circle here. And that's way more concise than what I have here going up and down. So as you can see, I've already messed with my sensitivity a little bit, and you've already found sensitivity that works a little bit better for me, but I don't know what I'm saying, but I'm going to put it back to this sensitivity and I'll show you what I can do with this. It may even be worse, I really don't know. I haven't changed my sensitivity in a long time because I feel like keeping a consistent sensitivity is something very important as a console player, but we'll get into that soon. But this is a demonstration of my sensitivity attempting to control Nomad's recoil, which is someone I'm alright with, but I'm not incredibly good with in terms of recoil control. But let's give it a go. Okay, so as you can see, I lost it a bit at the end. I don't know what I was doing, but my recoil control over here was better than it was here. But we're not going to talk about that. Maybe I need to watch this video myself, I don't know. But as you can see, it was literally just me playing around with my sensitivity until I found recoil control that I was confident with. And that is the first step to making a step forward in your recoil control. So this will fix your recoil control, and that is like half the reason you play around with your sensitivity, because you want to find a sensitivity that you can control in terms of recoil and movement. And we'll get into movement soon, but with that said, once you figure this out, that is half of the sensitivity in my opinion, and that is half of the stuff you have figured out in terms of sensitivity. Now the other half that you use your sensitivity for is movement. You're not always aiming. Say an enemy was, let's say it was that middle leaf there, and you're looking this way. Having recoil control isn't going to help you at all if you're looking this way, trying to shoot a guy on your left. You want to have movement. As you can see, that was pretty dog shit. You want to have movement. There we go, that was better. I'm still getting warmed up, give me a second. But yeah, having that movement is something you want to have, so you are able to control that recoil, that movement, so you can flick to these people that are sitting on the side of you, and react quickly. So you want to go, bow. You can even start shooting beforehand. Hold up, I'll do that. Obviously, this is what you would call, there's another setting in your sensitivity, obviously, which is your ADS setting. Where's that again? It's fucking hiding, hold on. Controller ADS setting, here we go. So this is the advanced setting here that you have in your sensitivity. You can either have it on advanced, which means you can single-handedly adjust your sensitivity to specific sights that you have on your weapon. So obviously I'm using the 2.5 right now, which means I would have 54, but I use standard because I'm a bum and don't really play around with my setting. So that's ADS setting, that's a whole different story. 45 is very easy to control, and that is the sensitivity you'll move out while ADS, which is what I'm doing right now. So that is another aspect of recoil control that you probably need to take into factor, that I should have said before, is you want to find a sensitivity while you're practicing on this wall that links in with these two vertical and horizontal sensitivities, like, because obviously if I had 100 horizontal plus this 45 ADS, I'm gonna be moving faster than 75 horizontal with 45 ADS. So you want to find something that merges between those two, and then that's another thing you want to practice with that wall recoil. And then obviously movement, which is just purely horizontal if you're not aiming, so something like that, what you would do to turn to this bush. And then if you want to include ADS, you'd aim down a little bit beforehand, which means you'd have to get used to slowing down a little bit, because I go from 75 to 45, and then controlling that flick as well, which is the movement side of aim. So the best way to practice your movement obviously isn't to do that stand there staring in a bush. It's to play the terrorist hunts. Try and put yourself in positions where you need to flick to people, and then try and control. So obviously he's on the wrong side. As you can see, I kind of flicked to that dude. Is there a guy? Where'd he go? I don't know where he went. There's someone this side, so we're gonna flick to him. This is the easiest way to control your movement. Just doing these flick drills. Obviously, you're gonna be a bit off sometimes. That's completely okay. As I said, I'm a plat 3. I'm not gonna be a master example of a perfect Siege player. I'm essentially just your average dude, just trying to teach you tricks where you can practice movement. Obviously, you don't want to do this in games, and I feel like in Terrorist Hunt you do want to train yourself for game situations, but getting this flick movement on point is really going to help you out in gunfights in ranked games. I can promise you that, because majority of the time you're going to find yourself having to flick to these people, because say you're aiming here, they do sometimes walk into your reticle, but most of the time you have to adjust, do you not? Which is where movement comes into play. Obviously, recoil control is important, because if you're moving and you don't know how to control recoil, it's just going to go all over the place. So that's where you practice your recoil control while moving and keeping it concise. As you can see, that guy there, my movement was controlled and I was able to counter the flank. Now we got a guy in here. Let's find him real quick. I don't even know where he is. There we go. Movement flicked. He walked into my ADS. As I said, that does happen. It's not completely unheard of. But most of the time, against actual players, especially, you're gonna want to have that movement, and controlling that movement is very important. So again, let's just keep practicing. Let's find some terrorists. There's a guy there. All right, I missed that one. Don't get flashbanged. The guy there, missed that guy as well. Okay. And there you go. That was kind of lucky. I feel like there's a C4 somewhere in there. I'm out of ammo. So I suppose, okay, I'll refill it here real quick. So that essentially that is how you would find your sensitivity. Obviously, I'm using my sensitivity now that I've been working with for a while. And I would like to say one thing is, as a console player, keeping a consistent sensitivity is more important than you think. A lot of console players do like to switch their sensitivity around watching videos like this. It seems just after playing like one day of bad games and feeling like they're completely off and they need to change their sensitivity. It is okay to have bad days. You do not need to change your sensitivity because of it. I just want to make that as clear as possible. As you can see, that was a clean flick. Practicing your flicks really does help though. I'm being completely generally honest here. Practicing your flicks does help more than you would think. But getting back into what I was saying before, keeping a consistent sensitivity will help you out in the long run, because you'll gradually get more used to this sensitivity, and eventually you'll just nail it down. I think this is the advice I would give. Obviously, if anyone higher ranked than me would like to dethrone this advice and insist on changing sensitivity, I'm happy to hear it. As I said, there's a lot of people who probably are more experienced in terms of skill level than I am. They can pass on better tips than me. So if you wish to put your opinion in the comment section down below on this factor, feel free to. But with that said, we're about to finish this terrorist hunt. I've essentially flicked on like every person I've seen, getting used to that movement. This guy's really been a problem. I'm just gonna knife him because I'm fucking potatoing all over the place. Okay, so as you can see at the moment, my recoil control is what is letting me down. That is 100% what's letting me down. That was better. So you want to merge those two things together. So obviously, I feel like you want to specifically focus one terrorist hunt on recoil control if you're specifically focusing on trying to find your sense. And then one terrorist hunt on that flicking thing that I just did there. I'm not going to go through a recoil control one because I'm sure you guys can figure out what you're meant to do. You just want to try and keep the best recoil you can and hit headshots as much as you can. Get crosshair placement practice in there as well. That's completely fair as well. But in a general sense, that's about all I have to say. They're the two things you kind of want to work with when you're focusing on your sensitivity, which is movement and aim. You have your three factors of sensitivity that you want to practice with, obviously in terrorist hunt as much as possible, which is your horizontal, your vertical, and your ADS sensitivity. And just playing around with these and finding your own sense will 100% benefit you more than picking up someone else's sense. There is nothing wrong with picking up someone else's sense, and it may work for you, but finding your own sense will probably 99% of the time work better for you than using someone else's sensitivity in a video, like such as mine, where they say best champion, I'm talking about other people, best champion sensitivity, best plat sensitivity, best sensitivity, etc. This works for them, and try and find what works for you. If their sensitivity works for you, then there you go. But do make sure to have a little bit of a practice around and try and find your own sense and get that shit together so you can be the best player you can be. But with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to slam that like button if you did. Let me know if I did anything wrong or if I missed anything that you feel like should be added. Chuck that in the comment section down below. Make sure to smash that sub button and the notification bell if you're interested in more videos from me. And also make sure to come check out my Twitch streams. Links in the description down below. I've been streaming there every day. I'd love to see you guys there. And with that said, that's enough from me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Control.